Matheny relieved of his managerial duties back on July the 14th. Back upstairs with Ryan Spilborgs. Whenever you think of the Cardinals and Cardinal Nation, you think of this: steady, steady, right across. I mean, there's never a bump in the road, it seems like. 10 straight winning seasons, but all of a sudden this year has been rather tumultuous by their standards.
It really has been. When you look at the record, they're one game over 500, 8 games back in the Central. They took on the Cubs this weekend, almost swept them. They did not sweep the Cubs. 11-13 in the month of July. It was time for Mike Matheny to go. His voice no longer carrying the same weight. And if you look at that, they have not finished below 500 since 2007. That is remarkable when you think of the Cardinals' way.
Well, they have a great story this year. In a long time, good player in Matt Carpenter. He started slowly this year. They moved him back to the top of the order where seemingly he's more comfortable. To say he's gone off has been an understatement.
An understatement. When you look at July, 10 home runs this month, and it's in 87 at-bats. He went through a streak of 6 home runs in 6 consecutive games, including a pinch-hit home run and a doubleheader in Chicago. He's been on fire. He's been carrying the baton for this team. They tried to put him in the middle of the lineup. He is a leadoff hitter, feels far more comfortable. But one of the big trades this offseason, Marcell Ozuna, hit .314 last year, 37 home runs. He has not lived up to what the Cardinals made the move for.
Yeah, and that's a move I know you and we chatted about it in the offseason, really like, because Marcell Ozuna is a leader. You see him messing around with Gerardo Parra out there. He's got a lot of life to him, great personality. He hasn't swung it like he's capable of, but he's still a dangerous man in the middle of that order. He had a couple of home runs over the weekend against the Cubs. We're set for baseball. We know you are as well. The Rockies road trip begins tonight in St. Louis. It's Colorado, it's St. Louis. Come on back to Busch Stadium with us.
times at Coors Field, fun times out on the road this year for the 2018 Rockies. They are among the hottest teams in baseball. They've won 19 of their last 24 as they roll into St. Louis. 10 games above 500, and we are ready for first pitch. Carlos Martinez, 26 years of age, but he's a veteran. He's just coming off the disabled list, hard-throwing right-hander, and his first pitch in for a strike against Charlie Blackmon. Charlie, 9 for 17 lifetime against Martinez. He had a mild oblique strain, missed a start, and that's called strike 2, so it's 0-2. He was also on the disabled list with a right lat strain earlier in the year, his first 2 stints on the disabled list in his career. 0-2, and the breaking ball's fouled off. Well, one of the things when we glance at Martinez's numbers, you'll notice, Spilly, is the walks are way up.
They are, and what else I picked out was that he's been using his pitches differently. This season, he came in using a fastball, always had good sink, but now he's trying to throw a cutter. He's throwing it about 30% of the time. And I think when you have a new pitch in your repertoire, it takes a little bit longer to figure out how to locate it. And I think that's part of the reason why we're seeing a walks per 9 over 4. Fastball at 93 miles an hour. The slider is his best secondary pitch. That's what he wants to get those punch outs.
Outside. You know, when he first came up, I mean, he hit triple digits on a regular basis. Sometimes I think, Spilly, guys overthink things. This guy's got a ridiculously good arm.
Well, fastball velocities dipped down into the mid-90s. To your point, 2014, Drew, his fastball averaged 98.1 miles an hour.
But that, a lot of that is now the dip. Not that the arm strength's gone down. He's throwing more two-seamers.
Two-seamers and cutters.
Two balls, 2 strikes on Charlie. And he chases at 97, so there's that arm strength. And the first hitter of the game, Blackmon, goes down swinging. That'll bring up Ian Desmond. Here's the Southwest batting order this evening for Buddy Black and the Rockies. And you'll note toward the bottom a couple of changes. First of all, Ryan McMahon's getting a start after the 2-double game yesterday. He's in the 5-hole. He's playing second base. Tom Murphy, 3 games in a row behind the plate. Gerardo Parra back in there. Garrett Hampson is getting the start for Trevor Story. Trevor is just fine. He's just getting a day off. Remember, he didn't get much of a break at the All-Star break. He's played every game save one earlier this year when he fouled the ball off his foot. So he's just a little bit fatigued. Get him 24 hours off his feet. He'll be back in there tomorrow. Desi takes a slider for a strike. He's riding a 13-game hitting streak, second longest of his career. And it's tied for the longest active streak right now in the big leagues. Home plate umpire is Marty Foster. Joe West is at first base. Joe, of course, the crew chief, Nick Lentz, and Mark Rippiger. And this is on the ground to DeYoung. Cardinals were up late last night. They had a rain delay before beating the Cubs 5-2. Actually, losing to the Cubs, I should say, 5-2. There's our old friend Dexter Fowler. We got to visit with Dex, your old teammate, for a while this afternoon. He's joined in the outfield by Harrison Bader and the aforementioned Marcell Ozuna. And the infield is led by perhaps a future Hall of Famer, one of the great defensive catchers, not only of his generation, but really of all time, Yadier Molina. We will tell you that this defense overall has not performed well. They are last in Major League Baseball in fielding percentage. They've made 85 errors. This ball's driven to deep center field off the bat of Nolan, and it is chased down out there by Bader. So Nolan gave it a ride. The Rockies done in their half of the first. Tyler Anderson on the mound when we come back. take on the St. Louis Cardinals. It'll be start number 22 this year for Tyler. Why I don't pay close attention to record. He has a 6-3 record, which would be pretty misleading. The way he's pitched, he could easily have a dozen wins.
1.32 ERA in July. That's the best in the National League. He probably has an opportunity to win Pitcher of the Month. When you look at his arsenal, it's the cut fastball under the hands of the righties, and that pairs so nicely with the changeup. He's using 22%. Great feel. He's pitching north to south, not east to west. He's up and down, which makes it, as a hitter, far more difficult to try to square up a pitch.
And the first guy he'll face is the most dangerous guy in their lineup. A lot of similarities between he and Charlie Blackmon. Matt Carpenter, 25 home runs, among the league leaders in that department. He has over 30 doubles. He leads the National League with 56 extra base hits. He's a guy that gets right up on the plate out of an open stance. First pitch from Anderson is swung on and fouled off.
So I heard this story with Matt Carpenter, and he was struggling through the first month, through his first couple hundred at bats. He was hitting 155. And it was the analytics department with the Cardinals that reaffirmed to him he was fine. He said, hey, your exit velocity, all the different metrics we look at are the same as your career stats. Relax.
That's down low. He's hitting 258 against lefties. So far in the second half, he's slugged 854. Pulls the ball quite a bit on the ground, so the Rockies adjust with 3 on the right side. Here's the 1-1 from Tyler. That is in there. Good looking pitch, 1-2. Such a studious guy. You may have noted as we went to break after the Rockies hit, there was Anderson going over his notes on the hitters he would face in the first inning again, and he'll take notes in between innings. Change up, 2-2.
Iannetta has been catching Tyler Anderson the last couple starts, and for Tom Murphy, he's been swinging such a good bat that Bud Black is playing the hot hand. So you make sure that Tom and Tyler Anderson get on the same page right away. I asked Iannetta if there was any big changes, and he said no. Pitchers don't really mind at all.
He goes to the outside corner, and he hits the outside corner. Did not get rewarded. It is 3-2. Boy, he put that right where it needed to be. Talk about hitting the glove. (3-2). And that is rifled foul. He has such quick hands, Matt Carpenter. I mean, he really, when you talk about, and you love breaking down hitters, guys with electric hands, he's got electric hands.
And he's quiet at the plate. It's not like there's a lot of big movement. He gets his foot down early, and he's just able to turn. Foot foul, 5 feet.
And weak contact. Let's see, this is going to be a tough play, and no play. McMahon tried to flip it behind his back, and that'll be an infield hit for Matt Carpenter.
Not a lot you can do. Tyler Anderson falls off towards the third base side, and he tried to get over. He was probably the best defender to make a play on that, but as soon as he got past him, basically a do-or-die play for Ryan McMahon. Curious to see how the Rockies defense plays today without Trevor Story at short. It changes up the defense for the Rockies pretty significantly when you take away a Gold Glove type from shortstop.
Again, Garrett Hampson playing shortstop for Story, and Ryan McMahon playing second. Good athlete, but not his natural position. Hampson grew up a shortstop.
Right.
He was a shortstop growing up in Reno. He was a shortstop at Long Beach State. He's played plenty of shortstop in pro ball.
Well, I'm hearing from scouts that have seen him play in the minor leagues, they think he's a Gold Glove caliber shortstop.
Let's take a look at the Rockies defensively, and we'll focus in on those two guys. Again, Story, for just the second time, he's fine, just getting a day off, not in there at short. McMahon's bat's been going well, so he gets the start at second base. And he doesn't have nearly the same amount of experience. He's gotten it the last couple of years down in AAA playing some second base, but he came up as a third baseman. First base would probably be the next spot he's played the most, and then second. Rockies, if they can get a ground ball, great opportunity to turn two. As accomplished a hitter as Yadier is, the one skill he does not bring to the park is foot speed. That ball's lined to left field. It's got a hook on it, and it's foul. 1-2. Think about this. Yadi's hit 14 home runs this year. He missed about a month. Molina's career high in home runs is 22. Last year he hit 18.
He's just a good hitter. Doesn't walk a lot. Puts the ball in play.
Tough guy to strike out also.
And the way he runs, he's not legging out infield singles either. So his hits are legit hits.
Yeah, the Molina brothers were not blessed with speed. They were blessed with a lot of other things from a baseball standpoint. Matt Carpenter, not a threat to steal.
Drew, take a look at this. When Yadier Molina steps into the box prior to getting ready to hit, he taps his bat in the left-handed batter's box right here. Tap, tap. Never seen anybody tap it on the other side.
I've never seen that. I mean, you'll see guys make sure they have plate coverage. That's pretty commonplace. He wants to make sure he has plate coverage 3 feet off the plate away. And that's fouled off the other direction. Guys get in rituals. You know that. And sometimes a guy will say, you had teammates, Billy, say, no, I'm not superstitious. And then you'll watch them prepare for the game. You go, what are you talking about, dude? You always put your left sock on first, and then your spike, and then your right. I mean, everybody's got a ritual. And this, I'm sure, has more to do with a ritual than anything else. It's different. And a strikeout of Molina. Went upstairs, got him to chase, 1 out. With Carpenter at first, that'll bring up the shortstop, Paul DeYoung. Here's the Southwest batting order for Mike Schilt, again the interim manager. Marcelo Osuna will bat after DeYoung. Jed Jerko, the former Padre. It's Jairo Munoz at second base. Dexter's playing right field and batting 7th. Harrison Bader, who can run, is in the 8th spot. Mike Schilt, talk about him as this series unfolds. He's a baseball lifer. DeYoung swings and misses. You go back about 20, just a little more than 20 years ago, Mike Schilt was a high school coach in Charlotte, North Carolina. Then he got a couple assistant jobs, UNC Charlotte, UNC Asheville, his alma mater. DeYoung pops this one up, shallow center. Charlie sprinting in. Going out is McMahon. Nicely done by Ryan. 2 outs.
For the Win is brought to you by Pizza Ranch. For Tyler Anderson, it's Don't Change. Seen him pitch extremely well in the month of July. It has a lot to do with his cutter and the changeup. Opponent's hitting 210, 310 slugging percentage. This is a very aggressive Cardinals lineup. That changeup will be a very important pitch for him throughout the game.
So here's Osuna. He has 6 ribbies in his last 2 games, but it's still been a tough July for Marcel. Hitting just .216, a .551 OPS. That's a balk. Joe West calls Anderson for a balk, and remember earlier this year he was called for a balk. Did he have 2 in a game last year, Spilly?
Yes, he did. Was it Joe West, the umpire at first, that called the box on him that day too?
That I don't recall. But here's my thing. Why the number of throws over with Matt Carpenter? He's not Tim Raines. He doesn't run. He doesn't have a stolen base this year. That's not his game. He's a power guy leading off. Now he's in scoring position. Osuna at the plate, outside, ball 1. You know, unless Tyler's thinking I can steal an out, which he's done.
He did last start
with that good move. But if he's concerned about Matt Carpenter running, highly doubtful. Good changeup. 1-1. Osuna, part of that wonderful outfield they had with the Marlins. He and Stanton and Christian Yelich. And now they all have new addresses. Swung on a miss. Yelich, in fact, the player of the week for Milwaukee in the National League.
Yeah, that was the league's best outfield. Traded away, all 3 of them.
Yeah, no one was going to argue with you. Two outs, 1 and 2 on Osuna. And line to left, Parra coming on, makes the catch. What a break, what a grab. And that will end the rally potential for St. Louis. Wonderful grab by Gerardo Parra in left to keep St. Louis off the scoreboard. Baseball on AT&T Sportsnet is brought to you by the 2018 Toyota Tundra in your hometown Toyota stores and by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. St. Louis, Missouri. Rockies will be stationed here for the next 4 days. 3 night games and a Thursday afternoon getaway ball game before heading on to Milwaukee. Cargo's had a marvelous July. He'll step in against Carlos Martinez. And he fouls that first fastball straight back. Cargo, one of 5 Rockies in the month of July, hitting over 300. Cargo's at 342. Nolan, Desi, Trevor Story, Charlie Blackmon, all well over 300. Hot in July. Charlie hitting 369, which is 5th best in the league. Cargo's 11th best, but he's slugging 658. Trevor's put up Gorgeous numbers as well. Cargo broke his bat.
Cut it off doing a bat.
He'll try to dig out of an 0-2 ditch. 1-2.
I've seen a lot of pitchers with high velocity that have that ability to try to elevate on Carlos Gonzalez. That is where he can have some difficulty handling.
And he's gone on a 96-mile-an-hour elevated fastball away. 2 strikeouts for Carlos Martinez. That'll bring up Ryan McMahon. Fans, when the Rockies score 7 in a game, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day. Do it between 4 and 6 to get your Rockies taco special. Liv Moss at Taco Bell. Well, a nice return to the big leagues yesterday for Ryan McMahon. Doubled and scored in the second. That double, a line drive to left. And then his next time up, maybe the most impressive swing he's had all year. He's had a couple home runs. That's the first double. But his next time up on a 97-mile-an-hour fastball, he clocked one to drive in a run to deep right center. And we keep pointing this out because one of the things they wanted him to work on when he went down to Albuquerque, the 2 things most notably is be more aggressive. He was taking too many pitches, especially early in the count. And number 2, getting the bat head out on and being shorter to the baseball on plus fastballs.
The same kind of mechanical adjustment the Rockies made with Carlos Gonzalez. Cargo and Ryan McMahon can get the bat a little bit too far behind their head, which creates what we call a wrap. It's not the kind you order at a deli. That's healthy for you.
No, usually it's rather unhealthy.
Yeah, it gets you sent down to the minor leagues. You want your bat head and your hands to be free from your body. You don't want to get tied up by your body.
Martinez looked sharp in the first couple of innings. He has struck out 3 of the first 5 as Tom Murphy comes up. Murphy gave the Rockies a 2-0 beginning in the second with his second home run of the year. A 435-foot bullet to center. Rockies went on to win 3-2 and thus sweep the A's, a team that had come in hotter than any team in baseball over their previous 33-34 ball games. Rockies, by virtue of that win yesterday at home, now 16-4 their last 20 at Coors Field. One and 2. Rockies have 2 more ball games in July. They're 16-5 in July. And from a win percentage standpoint, if they can sustain that, it will be the best month in club history. Just missed.
Well, the Rockies have their work cut out for them here in St. Louis. This has been a house of horrors for them playing at Busch Stadium.
Just period playing the Cardinals. The Rockies have not won the season series against the Cardinals since 2010. Look at this, 8 straight years that the Rockies have lost the season series to St. Louis. And this is consecutive home series lost against the Cardinals. And Martinez strikes out the side. Middle of 2, no score in St. Louis. And we look at some of the great numbers put together by Tyler Anderson in the month of July. His 132 ERA, fourth best in Rockies annals. He has an 084 whip, and then he's first in several categories. Opponent batting average, on base percentage, slugging percentage, opponent OPS. It's been a great month of July. Trying to finish it on the right note. Cutter on the outside corner, strike one on Jed Jerko. You know, that minuscule ERA, I started thinking, all right, who had a lower ERA? And naturally, Ubaldo's the first name that comes to mind. And that is the right answer. The first 2 months of 2010, he had a sub-1 ERA. And then Sean Chacon, the opening month, man, I think it was back in 03 or 04.
2003, yep.
He had a slightly lower ERA than Tyler Anderson has had so far in July. Here's the 0-2 on Jerko. Curveball's in the dirt. Jed's a product of West Virginia University, his hometown school. He still lives in Morgantown. Tough hop. Hampson knocks it down and will throw him out. That's well done. That's the only thing you can do. Smother the baseball. Garrett did that. Kind of made like a catcher.
There's no way to really get a friendly hop, so he does exactly that. He smothers the baseball. He makes sure he gets low enough that he can use his chest if he has to. Jerko's not the fastest of runners. Hampson resets himself.
Billy, I'm sure you from the outfield would look at a young player when he came up in the infield, and nobody gets here because they don't belong.
Right.
But you want to see how they handle themselves in difficult situations and if there's any panic. Well, all right, tough hop, tough situation, knocks it down, no panic.
No panic.
Jairo Munoz with a 1-0 count, and he bounces this one easily to Nolan. 2 outs. Folks, join in on the conversation. Send us your thoughts, comments, photos, questions. Twitter's the place. The hashtag is Toyota Talk.
Bit of a love-hate relationship right now between Dexter Fowler and the fans, Cardinals fans. Dexter received a very large, substantial contract after an all-star season with the Chicago Cubs back in 2016, and he rewarded the Cardinals with the great season last year. Career high in homers, RBIs. He struggled at the plate this season. The first pitch out to Charlie and ends the inning.
7-pitch, 1-2-3 inning for Tyler Anderson. Off to the third we go.
Reminds you of a player who used to play for the Rockies, and then he was with the Cardinals, Matt Holliday. Well, there's also news that Matt Holliday is back with the Rockies. He's in Grand Junction. He has signed a minor league contract with Holliday, and our crew went down to Grand Junction today to talk with him about what he likes so much about this young Rockies team.
I think first and foremost the talent. I think the talent right now is probably as high as it's been maybe ever. And you know, with the young pitching and you know, the lineup full of very, very good hitters, there's no easy outs in the lineup, and the bullpen with a lot of the new guys, and having a closer like Wade Davis. Really, the ingredients for doing something special is all there. And so, I think when as a guy that's kind of watching the organization as I do, it's extremely talented, and I think that's what gets you excited.
And I think what makes the Rockies excited is he's just a year removed from hitting 19 home runs with the Rockies. Now, I've seen a lot of good tweets today regarding Matt Holliday coming back, but this one's got to be my favorite. Josh Fogg saying, "Hey, Rockies, can you ask the front office if I can join Matt Holliday on the comeback tour? I think I have a few good innings left in me." And then he also, Rockies, we all know Rockies Twitter is really good with replies. How about this? "Didn't know you were interested. We will be in contact." And by we mean the alumni department, asking if you could help us in those specific areas. Spilly, I know you played with Fogger, but what do you think? Non-baseball playing related events, I think he might be more qualified for that.
Spilly, he's in the right place,
stick to
Fogger.
fantasy
camp, right?
Yep.
Fogger's graduated to fantasy camp. There's nothing wrong with that. 2-2's fouled off.
Fogger trying to get the band back together.
He's a beauty, isn't he? Next thing you know, I'm going to lose a partner in the booth, right?
For like a day.
It's exciting. I'll tell you what, it is really exciting, and we don't know where it'll go with Matt. This ball is tailing toward the line, but chased down by Osuna. So Parra is the first out of the third inning. That'll bring up Garrett Hampson. A bunt might be in order here with the way Martinez is rolling in the early going. But anyhow, we don't know how it's going to play out with Matt. Hopefully he has a lot left in the tank. You know, hopefully maybe in September he can come up, be that big guy coming off the bench and really give pause to the other manager in that dugout. Let's see how it plays out. Right now, it's a great story possibility.
We love great stories. We love.
That bounces into left field, a base hit for Hampson. Why bunt when you know you're going to hit a Baltimore chopper into left?
Not to mention, Jed Jerko moved to the infield grass, anticipating bunt, so it worked out in the Rockies' favor. Jerko was thinking like you. Hampson said none of that. Usually you don't see a ball bounce off the dirt in front of home plate as hard as it did. Oftentimes, a lot of organizations and stadiums will wet the dirt in front of home plate to the point where it might get lodged.
Might be embedded.
I used to joke, there's times that we would go to Chase Field with the Diamondbacks, and if you hit a ball in the dirt, or if you walked on the dirt, you would sink. It was like quicksand.
Anderson fouls that off, 0-1. Hampson, wonderful speed at first base. Talking about
storybook endings.
Well, we'll get back to that, but I was thinking back to the 80s. Willie McGee on the coaching staff with St. Louis back in the mid-80s when this place was turfed out. That ball would have bounced for a ground rule double off the bat of Hampson. But no, I think it's a great move by the Rockies organization. Matt grew up a Rocky. There's still a lot of purple in his blood. You know he takes great care of himself, and he's highly motivated. That goes foul.
You want to end on your own terms, and
he had a really good year going last year in New York.
And the Yankees were almost on the verge of rewarding him midway through the season until he ended up getting sick. I always think back to how important a guy like Jason Giambi was to the Rockies in 2009 and 2010. Just having that player that can mold a young group. Not that this group needs molding. They're just adding to.
This is a bad throw by Martinez, and Hampson is going to have a chance to go to third, and he'll get there. Matt Carpenter has throwing issues. It's why he's now a full-time first baseman. Hampson took one glance over his shoulder. Stu Cole was waving him on. And it's a two-base throwing error. That is huge.
It's no shock either when you see this Cardinals defense. 86 errors on the season. That's an 8th error by a pitcher, and Carlos Martinez is 3rd. But I just
I'm
love
not sure
that.
why that wasn't handled. Do you?
No, I don't. I just like that Hampson understood how far away Matt Carpenter was. He probably remembered the scouting report. Take a chance.
Rockies did a great job following the scouting report with Chris Davis. So Oakland, his throwing issues, they took an extra base every time it got hit to left field. Anderson is going to strike out. So there's 2 outs with Charlie coming up. A little bit more on Matt Holliday and some of Matt's reasons for taking the invitation to sign with the Rockies.
I think having done this basically my whole adult life and the majority of my childhood, there's just something about playing the game and the competition part of it, the camaraderie with the guys part of it, the trying to accomplish something bigger than yourself and as a team, and trying to have a goal as a team and accomplish something. And there's just something about it that's it's hard to find. And
Charlie takes strike 1. Charlie struck out his first time. Rockies have a chance to get a run here with Hampson at third base. But listen, Matt has had, even if he were to shut it down, Matt has had a great career. And this is slowly hit to second. Charlie hustling, but going to come up a step shy. We'll talk more about Holliday when we come back. Rockies will leave Hampson at third. Middle of 3, no score between the Rockies and Cardinals. AT&T Sportsnet is brought to you by Subaru. Love, it's what makes a Subaru a Subaru. And by Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo customers get your 2-for-1 Rockies club level tickets by visiting wellsfargo.com/Rockies. Drew Goodman with Ryan Spilborghs, Taylor McGregor. In St. Louis for 4. Bottom of the 3rd inning, it'll be Harrison Bader, Carlos Martinez, and then Matt Carpenter to face Tyler Anderson. He allowed an infield hit to Carpenter in the first, that's all. It's the high energy Bader, and he pops this up. Right field line, Cargo, Desi, Cargo. Oh, did he make the catch? He did. Get the leather down at the last moment.
Replacer divot, Carlos Gonzalez. This one's tough. This is no man's land in between multiple fielders. McMahon's not going to get there. Desmond wants to get there, but it's Carlos Gonzalez with the better angle. Look at how he looks at Desi after he makes that play. It's a late call for Carlos.
I'll tell you what, too, and you know this to be true, Spilly. How many first basemen get in that neighborhood other than Ian Desmond in baseball? There aren't many guys who are 50 yards down the right field line.
I can't think of many guys that can get to that baseball.
Martinez takes strike one. I want to finish some of the thoughts we were having on Matt Holliday. You were on the field, but I will never forget late in that 2007 season and in game 163 and onto the playoffs, every time that Matt came up, the stadium packed to the gills at 20th and Blake would reverberate with MVP, MVP. And I mean, it's been 11 years, but I remember it, as the saying goes, like it was yesterday.
Gives me chills just thinking about it. And he deserved that MVP that year.
He did. Jimmy Rollins, great player, wonderful baseball citizen, had a terrific run in Philadelphia, great career. It's not a knock on Jimmy, but Matt Holliday, the numbers he put up that year, and the year that the Rockies had, he was deserving. Swung on a miss. Martinez is gone. That is the second strikeout for Tyler. Too quickly in the book in the third inning, and that'll bring up Carpenter again.
For Tyler Anderson, it's 7 out of 8 batters he started off with the first pitch strike. He's in a great place.
And German Marquez yesterday pounded the strike zone.
Pound the strike zone.
He threw 70 strikes yesterday. Did German Marquez in 108 pitches. It's a little bit up. German went 7 2/3.
Correct that. It was 8 out of 9 through the first 3 innings were first pitch strikes, and obviously first pitch miss to Carpenter.
Ball and a strike on Carpenter. Hit a roller between first and second. That, I mean, it just was in the perfect location to produce an infield hit. He'll throw a handful of those a game. The curveball. 2-1. Sharply hit right at McMahon. Boy, he's got good hands. We saw him snare a line drive yesterday. That was well done. Another 1-2-3 inning for Tyler Anderson. On to the fourth we go. Good play by Matt.
minor leagues. And a chance to check in with Rockies' top prospect, Brendan Rodgers, who is on the move. He was promoted to AAA Albuquerque after being with Hartford since June of last year. He's hitting .275, 42 extra base hits, 17 home runs with 62 RBIs in AA this year. Now, this was the Rockies' top draft pick in 2015. He's a guy with a high ceiling and exciting stuff that he now gets the chance to showcase that in AAA. Drew.
He's a rising star. Brendan Rodgers can flat swing it. That's why he went 3rd overall in the 2015 draft. And it's nice when guys get to graduate to the next level. Spilly, you got to experience that.
I was never a top prospect like Brendan Rodgers, and I've never had the opportunity to grow into my body at the professional ranks like Brendan Rodgers, and I think there's an advantage to that.
Desi leading off, takes strike 1. Rockies have just 1 hit. 1-1. Desi hit a roller to short his first time up. Got a pitch there, 1-2.
Runs are going to be at a premium tonight with how both pitchers are throwing. It's going to be small ball. I don't think it's going to come down to one pitch where you just hit one out of the ballpark. It's going to be a grindy at bat. Find a way on. Ouch. That's going to hurt for Ian Desmond. What the Rockies have going in their favor is this Cardinals defense. See if Keith Duggar comes out to take a look. It'll be Scotty Garrett.
I don't think anybody's coming out because you know there's nothing they could do. Ian's done that before, just like any player, and he's just going to wait and walk it off till the pain subsides. He's ready again, 1-2. And there's Tyler Anderson. That's what he does after every inning. Checks on his notes, his sequences, scouting report. Three and 2.
We mentioned at the top, Carlos Martinez comes into tonight's game with the walks per 9 at over a 4. First 3-2 count of the evening for Carlos.
A lot of those were earlier in the season. His last 6 starts, just 8 walks. But he's given up a bunch of runs. His ERA over his last 9 games of 5.32. And there's the walk. Spilly called it a leadoff walk for Desmond here in the 4th. And he got his good wheels aboard. As Nolan will step up. The walks at 4.5 are by far a career high. You're talking about Brendan Rodgers. Taylor was discussing his rise now to Albuquerque. He's 21. He's puppy, right? He's been about 2 or 3 years younger in the Eastern League than everybody else, basically about 3 years younger. Carlos Martinez at 21 was in the big leagues because of that arm.
And that's the trend in baseball, is that a lot more front offices with big arms. Arms are they're gonna get hurt. It's the nature of this game right now, just because of the amount of effort to get that max velocity.
Nolan behind 0-2. He hit a ball to the wall in extreme right center field that Harrison Bader made a nice running catch on to end the 1st inning. Nolan's had success, 6 for 16, a home run, 5 RBIs against Martinez. One and 2. Tony Diaz, each pitch will come in and inform Desmond of his time to the plate. So you have one of the all-timers back behind the plate in Yadier Molina. They've attempted only 23 steals on Yadi. He's thrown out only 5, though. That's strike 3. painted the black, 1 out, and a strikeout number 6 already for Martinez.
First strikeout looking for Carlos Martinez, and it was a two-seam fastball that runs back.
Great pitch.
It's a very good pitch.
Cargo steps up. He swung through a high fastball for a strikeout to lead off the second inning. Desi, I don't know if he will here, but such an aggressive base runner. You got a big presence in that left side of the box.
And you got to think along with how they're trying to pitch to Cargo.
Not going, swung on and missed.
It's going to be fastballs up in the zone, which will give Yadier Molina a better shot to throw out Ian Desmond.
Almost like a strike zone pitch out, right? And Cargo got one center cut. 0-2.
What you have to be careful with Yadier Molina, he's one of the best at throwing behind the base runner, and with Cargo being a left-handed hitter, nothing's better than a down and in slider that Molina can backhand and rip over to first. I've seen many guys get picked off.
1-2. Cargo 8 for 19 on the homestand, batted .421. Saturday, a 3-double night against the Oakland A's. One, two, and Cargo hooks it through the right side, a base hit. Desmond's going to go first to third. So Carlos Gonzalez able to hook that ball into right field, and the Rockies have a little something going here in the fourth with 1 out, and Ryan McMahon coming up.
Tried to go with the backdoor slider to Carlos. Just with his extension, his plate coverage, when he's right, he can cover that pitch down and away. Good job from Ian Desmond. Doesn't even have to look at Stu Cole at third base. That's a feel. That's understanding how far Dexter Fowler has to run and putting that pressure on the Cardinals defense.
So here's McMahon, a chance for the Rockies to break the ice.
211 batting average on the season against Carlos Martinez with runners in scoring position.
At what point in time, number of at-bats roughly in your big league career, did you have a pretty good idea by situation what that pitcher was going to try to do to you?
You should already have one by the time you get to the big leagues of what a pitcher's trying to do. It's more the realization of what can you handle. What pitches can you handle at this level, because that's where major league pitchers will try to exploit you. I had a giant hole inside, and so I had to learn to either pull on a pitch, guess, or lay off of it. And so that has to be the thought process for Ryan McMahon, is figuring out what pitch can I take right now that can get the job done.
So they're trying to pound him in. So Yachty wants it in again, and that's fought off.
If after 3 years in professional baseball you don't understand game situations and how teams attack, it's pretty much the same. Scoreboard dictates everything, outs dictate everything.
Change up. And he gets a strikeout on McMahon. Now it'll be left to Tom Murphy. 7 strikeouts for Carlos Martinez. He has the ability to do that.
It's just a good sequence of pitching, especially if you looked at all the pitches underneath McMahon's hands. Then he goes for a changeup fading away from him.
Murphy as well struck out his first time. Desmond at third, Cargo at first. Murphy started on Saturday as well. He had a triple in that ball game to drive in a run. First career triple. Now he's got a 2-0 count.
Corey Sullivan and I have talked about how Yadier Molina is such a heads-up baseball player that you cannot take your eye off the ball when he has it. We've both been picked off by Yadi. Ian Desmond, as he retreats back to third, never takes his eye off Yadi.
Broken bat pop up. Rockies will leave 2 on as Carpenter makes the catch. Still scoreless. Here's our CenturyLink high-speed challenge question. Go to AT&T Sportsnet RM on Twitter to cast your vote. We'll show you the results during the post-game show. It's National Ice Cream Month. Rejoice! What's your favorite way to enjoy ice cream? Cone sandwich, milkshake, or in a bowl? For me, if I'm just going to eat ice cream, I actually prefer it in a bowl, but a chocolate banana shake.
Ooh, sounds
that
amazing.
Does it for me.
Oh, man.
Out of the carton is not an option. Asking for a friend. Molina's at the plate. Yadier takes high ball 1. He struck out swinging his first time up.
Big fan of a waffle cone.
Ice cream in any form is not bad, right?
No.
Anderson has retired 9 in a row since allowing a roller in the infield for a hit to Matt Carpenter in the bottom of the first inning. Good pitch. Kind of shortened the delivery, almost kind of a quick pitch, and he zipped a 92-mile-an-hour fastball in there. 1-2 on Molina. Broken bat roller. Boy, that's good pitching. 1 out. That'll bring up Paul DeYoung.
All University of Wyoming fans are invited to watch the Rockies and Dodgers game on August the 11th. Buy the Wyoming ticket package to get a limited edition hat at Rockies.com/Wyoming. I'll just donate mine to Jeff Houston, my Wyoming. It's hard for me to wear. I'm a big Gaucho fan, so.
I understand. Jeff and Wendy have plenty of Wyoming hats. They want you to have one. Paul DeYoung. So Paul DeYoung got his first major league start against the Rockies in Denver. And his first major league at bat came against one Greg Holland, who was just released in the last couple of days by St. Louis. And he hit a home run off of Greg last year. One on DeYoung, who aspires to be a doctor one day, 1-2.
Well, I know this offseason he spent time with a doctor researching. You don't hear that often from a major league ball player in his offseason studying and going through experiments. It's great. I remember talking with John Mabry, who was the Cardinals hitting coach before being fired, along with Mike Matheny's group, and he was saying that DeYoung was one of those rare hitters that you had to have different terms when you spoke hitting with him.
Overly analytical, is that what you're suggesting?
Yes, but in a good way.
Deep thinker.
You got to appreciate that. And that's the beauty of baseball. You have so many different players in this mixing pot, from different backgrounds, different cultures, different communities that they grew up playing.
2-2, pulled down the line, foul.
He almost took out the ball guy.
Well, he was getting ready to wear it. He didn't want to try to field it.
What's the glove for then?
Well, because I think he's worried that this thing's a fair ball and he doesn't want to be the employee that is interfering. See, that's why he's just trying to get out of the way.
Self-preservation.
You know what? Let me think.
Oh.
Maybe that was self-preservation. Maybe he's like, this is a little too hot for me.
He had a great shield.
2-2, cutter just missed. 3-2. The ball came off the bat at 107 miles an hour, and in his Tuesday night softball league, it comes off the bat at 107 kilometers an hour. Swung on and missed. Great pitch. 2 outs as DeYoung goes down. 3 strikeouts for Tyler Anderson. That'll bring up Marcell Ozuna. Well, if there's a snowstorm here in the Midwest tonight, the first guy they'll find in the blizzard will be Marcel's right arm. At least that will lead you to Marcell. How bright is that thing? It's like glow in the dark. Good fastball in on the knuckles. 0-1.
Well, he's worn that since his time with the Marlins. That's his thing.
I still think in time this trade will work out for St. Louis. He's too talented.
It's just, if you hit 312 with 37 home runs and 137 RBIs.
That doesn't happen by accident.
Or 124 RBIs, yeah, it doesn't happen by accident.
0-2. And that's in the air to deep left. Parra leaps and makes another great catch. He's taken 2 hits from Ozuna tonight.
Ozuna and Parra not going to be friends, ever.
Remember, they were visiting before the ball game, and he's now robbed him twice. One on a sinking line drive to keep St. Louis off the board in the first, and that took a double away from Marcell.
You have friends like Parra. Who needs enemies?
What a play by the Gold Glover. of a double, and here they are joking in the pregame. That will not happen tomorrow. They will be mortal enemies. This is a great play, man.
It's fantastic. Right into Dizzy Dean. Are you kidding me?
And Osuna complaining to Ian Desmond, and that's going to fall on deaf ears also.
I'm taking him out to dinner.
Tell him that. That's basically, I think you're right, how that conversation went. Slider, strike one on Gerardo.
I can see Ozuna in left field. He's still fuming.
Well, here's the interesting thing is, it's like they're playing a two-man game because Marcel made a nice running catch on Parra, his first at bat, near the left field line.
There's a feel when you're in the outfield, especially as an outfielder, you don't have the same opportunities to take hits away like infielders do. You were begging for Parra to hit a ball that you can rob. And there's times as outfielders, I mean, come on. You're on the field for 135 pitches. You may not have the full hyper focus for every pitch. Ozuna's locked in right here.
He wants to repay, huh? 2-1. That's bounce foul. All right.
Yeah, Ozuna's like sprinting to catch that ball down the foul line.
You led me to a question. Your big league career's over now. Did you ever find yourself, oh my goodness, I never even rolled up on that pitch. The pitch went by and I really wasn't prepared if the ball was hit in my direction.
I hope not. I mean,
this is line toward Osuna, and he can't make a play on it other than on a hop. So a leadoff single for Parra. And now he's really giving him the stink eye. I hate you. I will never talk to you again.
This made my night. You see how hard Ozuna's charging to get that?
He almost dove, even though he wasn't within 40 feet of it.
He's taking it personal.
Yeah. It's where Garrett Hampson and the small ball, it's got to always be on your mind. Pushing a bunt. He bounced one over the third baseman, Jerko, into left field. And then on a two-base throwing error on a pick attempt by Martinez, he was at third. Anderson struck out, and Charlie bounced out. The Rockies have had a couple of opportunities. Remember, at home, they were 8 for 46 on that homestand. Even though they went 4-1 on the homestand, Houston and Oakland, they were just a 178 club with runners in scoring position. That's when you know you're really playing well. You know you're pitching well when you're not getting the timely hits that have become customary the last couple of months. One and two on Garrett Hampson. Hey, how about yesterday, Spilly? The Rockies won on a Sunday.
That was surprising. For whatever reason, Sundays have always been not a great day for the Rockies. A lot of vampires on the Rockies roster.
Got to call time here, don't you? Hampson stayed alive. Well, it can be the day of rest for everybody else. It cannot be for a baseball team. Rockies 5-12 this year on Sundays. Looking to turn that day of the week around. Way outside. I think back to '09. Talked about the issues playing here in St. Louis, and a lot of teams have had issues playing, you know, typically really good Cardinal teams in their backyard in front of sellout crowds, and they've sold out 7 in a row here in St. Louis. Another great crowd this evening. But back in '09, Spilly, the season got turned around in a 4-game set here in St. Louis.
That's when Ian Stewart went off. Carlos Gonzalez went off.
He didn't foul that off. That's a strikeout.
That was a very important series for the Rockies because it was shortly after Jim Tracy took over for Clint Hurdle, and there was a personnel change in how the roster was being used, and the team responded. I'll never forget Ian Stewart hitting this opposite field home run and just thinking, I was like, wow, what are we doing here? We've never, as a group, we've never done that.
Anderson pulls the bunt back, 1-0. Here's one of the more amazing statistics that speaks to the steadiness and overall greatness of this baseball organization and how they've done it the Cardinal way. Since 1919, that's a strike, they have finished last in their division. 1919, it's 100 years, one time. They've won 11 world titles. They finished last once? Come on. A lot of banners.
That's amazing.
One and two. Leadoff single by Parra, 1 out. He's still at first base. You know, I know it annoys some, but I've always admired this Midwestern city's allegiance and this region's allegiance. Southern Illinois and beyond to their baseball team.
It's been a funny inning.
Yeah. I like the pink glove, huh?
I think it's great.
And Anderson bunts that foul. That's 9 strikeouts in less than 5 full innings. His career best is 13.
From merchandise to tickets and the exclusive gift with purchase programs, the Rockies Dugout Stores are at Grand Slam all year long. Go to Rockies.com/dugout stores for locations.
A strikeout and a broken bat ground ball to the second baseman Munoz for Blackman. Charlie 2 for 4 yesterday. Oh and 1. $20 home runs for Blackman. And this should be a base hit. Up the middle, Parr is going to go first to third. That'll give Ian Desmond a chance.
It's hard keeping track of the sequences for Carlos Martinez because he's throwing every pitch for strikes today. That was a changeup down and away, and Charlie was able to stay on it. I was surprised Bader went for the bare hand to try to make a throw to third base.
Desmond, a ground ball to short and a walk. What do we got going on here? Trainer's coming out.
That can't be good for Carlos Martinez. He came out of his last start for the oblique injury. Hopefully he didn't re-aggravate it.
Had to be really mild for him only to miss one start. I mean, DJ LeMahieu has a very mild oblique issue. And the good news, by the way, DJ took full batting practice on the field today, took ground balls. He hit underneath earlier today. He hit yesterday. And in the words of Buddy Black, he said he's closer than you think, which is Buddy's way of saying that he's getting real close. He could come off tomorrow. I'm not suggesting that is what's going to happen. I don't think yet. You know what? He re-aggravated it. He's walking off. He's not even throwing another pitch.
Well, there's just no benefit of running the risk with an oblique. You may think it's okay, and to throw a pitch and hurt it even worse. So that's unfortunate for Cardinals fans, and it's unfortunate for us. We were watching a great pitcher's duel tonight.
Yeah, an outstanding one, and the Cardinals faithful all stand and applaud Carlos Martinez. He was great for 4 2/3, but now the Rockies will have an opportunity to get after what has been an unsteady bullpen for St. Louis in a scoreless game. 2 on when we come back in the 5th. We'll see who it is out of the pen.
Black, a guy who has had a lot of impact on several players to play this game. One of those, Jeff Hoffman, the longtime closer for the San Diego Padres. Trevor Hoffman, not Jeff Hoffman, that's a different guy that we know. But Buddy had a big impact on Trevor when he was playing in San Diego, and yesterday when he was inducted into the Hall of Fame, he talked about his former manager.
1998 was the start of Hell's Bells, and you, the fans of San Diego, made it what it was. The enthusiasm and energy created from the second you heard the first bell as I stepped onto the field made every home game amazing. No one could have envisioned an entrance song being so exciting. Having to leave San Diego and another great manager in Buddy Black was not an easy decision.
Now, Buddy not just connected to Trevor Hoffman, but every single guy who was inducted into the Hall of Fame yesterday. Chipper Jones was coached by Bud in the 2008 All-Star Game. Jim Thome, teammates with Buddy with the Indians. Vladimir Guerrero was also coached by Buddy in Anaheim, and Trevor Hoffman, as we mentioned, managed by him in San Diego. Jack Norris pitched in the same game as Buddy, the ALCS in 1984, and then Alan Trammell is a longtime San Diegan, and Buddy was actually with him when he found out he was going to be into the Hall of Fame. So we know baseball is a small world, and especially when you're a guy like Bud Black, who's been in this game near 40 years, you're connected to a lot of people. Drew?
Yeah, he was at Lindbergh Field in San Diego. They were flying to the winter meetings in Orlando because, as you saw in that graphic there, and Taylor noted that, you know, Alan Trammell's a longtime San Diegoan, and they were together walking the airport. The phone rings for Tram, and he picks it up, and that's when he found out he was going to be inducted into Cooperstown. So Buddy got to share that special moment when he got the phone call as they were departing, and I thought it was really classy by Trevor to mention Buddy in his induction speech yesterday.
We had a chance to talk to Trevor Hoffman on radio a couple months ago when he found out that he was getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, and he shared this great story. His brother, who's a longtime third base coach for the San Diego Padres, they're all sitting around, and there's a time frame where the guys will receive their phone calls. And so Trevor's sitting there with all his family members, all his friends, and Glenn Hoffman goes into the other room, and he calls Trevor Hoffman from his phone, right at the time where he's supposed to be getting the call from Cooperstown. And so Trevor answers the phone, and it's Glenn going, "Hey, what's going on, man? What are you doing? You nervous?" And Trevor, it broke the ice. He had a phone call about 30 seconds later, and he said it was the greatest moment of their life, obviously connecting as brothers and as a family. And you gotta love stories like that when that's how important Cooperstown is to these players, and it's important to us as former players.
Absolutely. Well, the pitching change has been made as Carlos Martinez, we're guessing, re-aggravated that situation with his oblique, and it's Daniel Ponce de Leon, who we all learned his name a few days ago because of his major league debut, 7 no-hit innings in Cincinnati. And then he was sent out. He just got recalled in the last couple of days. He has never given up a big league hit. He's thrown 7 innings in the big leagues. And he and Desmond will try to change that right now. First and third, 2 outs. A 1-1 count.
Ponce de Leon is a great story in that he's another ball player that comes from an NAIA school. Emory-Riddle in Florida.
Means he wants to be a pilot, I guess, right?
Or we're looking for the fountain of youth.
One or the other, or both.
If it is Ponce de Leon, he looks fantastic.
Well, they found the fountain of youth. It's like 347 years old. Parra led the inning off with a single with 2 outs. Blackman singled. He went first to third. Parra did. And now it's 1-2 on Desmond. Scoreless in the top of the 5th. That may have been a gift for Desi. He kind of got locked up on that fastball at 95. He's trying to learn this kid in a hurry, and that was on the inside corner. That had plenty of sink on it, right over the top.
The other reason why is Yadier Molina wanted that pitch outside, and with the movement that De Leon gets with his sinker, runs all the way to the inside portion of the plate. And so visually for Marty Foster behind home plate, doesn't look like a strike.
Three and 2. Charlie Blackmon will be motoring towards second. Nolan hoping for an opportunity here. If he gets one, it'll be really good news. Either a base hit or a walk from Ian Desmond. Again, no score, 5th inning. Martinez is now out of there. He's pitching exceptionally well. Tyler Anderson is pitching 4 innings of great baseball. 3-2. No swing. The bases are loaded for Nolan. Second walk tonight for Desmond. 3 borderline pitches. That one was clearly low. First 2 were
very close
really
on the
close.
check swing.
Yeah. Deep fly ball to center and a called strike 3 for Nolan tonight. On the edge, strike 1. Always amazed at this. Nolan has had only 6 at-bats with the bases loaded this year. And it's July the 30th. He plays every day. He's in the middle of the order. You think, you know, there'd be 12, 14 of those so far. That's it. Just 6. He's 1 for 6. This ball is hit in the air to deep center field. Way back. Did Nolan get it? You bet. Grand slam, Nolan Arenado. Well, Ponce de Leon will never forget the first hit he gave up in the big leagues. 7 no-hit innings and then a grand slam. 4-0 Colorado.
The Rockies are going to have to find a way to score runs tonight. Carlos Martinez was pitching so well. And then for him to come out of the game, what we think aggravating the oblique, bringing in Ponce de Leon. And you're right, Drew, if you're going to give up a big league hit, first one might as well just be the big one.
The big one to one of the game's biggest stars. The old 4-run home run. 5th career grand slam for Nolan. And his 28th home run this year.
It's now 12 home runs on the road for Nolan. 5th career grand slam.
Boy, that one had to feel particularly good. That was crushed. Deepest part of the park. On the ground to short. DeYoung will end the inning by throwing out Cargo. But the Rockies get 3 hits in the inning. They load the bases, and Daniel Ponce de Leon gives up the grand slam to Nolan Arenado. 4-0 Rockies.
Grand slam in the top of the 5th. Here's a swing on the Subaru Supermo. Just a 2-seam that ran right out over the middle. Subaru StatCast, the numbers on it, 106 miles an hour off the bat, 418 sweet feet to center field. Nolan was fired up with that home run. He's still pumped.
And those are the kind of hits you get when you're rolling. And now the Rockies struggling against Martinez to really get it in play. They've thrown out a couple of hits. Martinez, we just heard from the St. Louis clubhouse, this is not good news. Had to leave with a right shoulder strain, so it wasn't the oblique again. Now it's a shoulder. Never want to hear that with a pitcher. This ball's well hit. And the Cardinals are going to get a run back. Jerko with his 8th home run of the year. 4-1. That snaps a string of 12 in a row set down by Tyler Anderson.
There's a changeup grip. He just leaves it out over the middle. Jed Jerko catches the changeup out in front.
Not a big guy, but Jerko has always been a powerful guy. Where San Diego gave him big money pretty early on after he had a terrific first year in the big leagues. 4-1. 0-1 on Jairo Munoz. And looks like he went. He did, 0-2.
He can live with solo home runs.
But
that's not going to hurt.
Yesterday, the Rockies won, giving up a couple of solo home runs.
Perfect world, he'd love to have a quick shutdown inning, but you're okay with the solo shot.
And that's another check swing that will ring up Munoz. That is strikeout number 4 tonight. 1 out, and that'll bring up Dexter Fowler.
I love this. Nolan Arenado is the rare hitter you quietly don't mind getting a hit off your team just to see him work. He's in a different class. Hashtag St. Louis Cards.
That's another thing. We were talking about the Cardinal Nation, Cardinal fans all over the region, and they've been around for over a century. They have fans all over the country. A lot of Cardinals fans originally in Colorado because where the Rockies came to be. Get them late at night on KMOX. Harry Carey and Jack Buck bringing you the ball games, and there were a ton of Cardinal fans in the Rocky Mountain region, Rocky Mountain Empire. But they're appreciative, as all good fans, all good sports fans should be, of greatness, even if it comes from the opposition.
And when you get to see it on display, you hear about this player from Colorado that's this platinum glove winner and he can hit. And then to get the opportunity to see him actually do it in your yard.
2 outs, Harrison Bader at the plate.
What's interesting about this stadium is that all the seats are red. And even if it's not a sellout, it feels like the seats are always packed.
The red mannequins are always here.
A sea of red.
Saw a few people. We were walking on the concourse tonight. There are some people in purple. 1-1 on Bader. 1-2 on Harrison Bader. He's an interesting story. Bader, New York area kid, grew up just north of the city. Born in Bronxville, which is a Westchester County suburb. Went to Horace Mann Prep. At a high school, as he strikes out, he was originally recruited by Pitt, decommitted, was going to go to Maryland, then that didn't work out. He ended up in Florida. A few years later, he's in the big leagues.
Getting punched out by Tyler Anderson.
Good bounce back by Anderson after the homer.
Ryan McMahon up to bat for Colorado, a guy who is in his second game back to the big league level after spending some time down in AAA, working on his swing, but also getting terrible haircuts. Take a look at the photo that was surfacing social media today. I had the chance to ask him what the heck was up with this.
Oh my God. I did not know it was gonna be that. So we were in Vegas and I had super long hair going, the whole thing. And we lost like, I want to say like 6-7 games in a row. So we got my buddy's trimmers out. He shaved my head right there in the clubhouse and went out and won the game. And I left the front like that up. So yeah, it was bad. It was a bad look. It only stayed for one day.
Yeah, he said he went 0 for 2 at the plate, went in and shaved it in the middle of the game. He said, I got to get rid of this. And the Isotopes ended up putting up 15 runs in that game. So I don't know if that was accredited to the haircut or in spite of it. True.
I'm not sure. The one thing I am pretty positive, you don't want to go around in public with that thing for very long, right?
It's okay this day and age.
1-1 on McMahon inside, 2-1.
You have to have a good name for that style.
And
I don't have one yet. I'll have to think of it. The Rooster. People do love unicorns now.
Rooster would work. Bader in center field, drifting towards left center, will make the catch, 1 out. That'll bring up Tom Murphy. Rockies up 4-1. They got a grand slam last inning by Nolan Arenado, a 2-out grand slam against Daniel Ponce de Leon.
It was a scary situation for Ponce de Leon last year. Took a line drive off of his head. Took him a while to recover from it. He still has a scar.
Yeah, that made that story of his first big league start a few days back, being 7 innings of no-hit baseball, that much more special and appealing.
And if you have emergency brain surgery, you're taking a line drive and you're able to recover. I've told this story about Ubaldo Jimenez, haven't I? Took a line drive in the minor leagues, and it took him almost 4 months to recover, both mentally and physically.
Yeah, just have the courage to get back on the mound.
Yeah. And I think I've shared the story about Carlos Gonzalez in the minor leagues. Have I shared that one with you? He was in low A. He was actually in high A playing for Lancaster with the Arizona Diamondbacks. He was having a great season, took a fastball off his head. And it took him a while to get the front shoulder to stay back so he can hit. And a close friend of his pulled him aside and he said, listen, if you don't get back in the box and compete and actually try, you're not going to play baseball. You're never going to make it. And so for Cargo, he realized I have to turn that switch and I have to get over that fear.
It's a pretty big mental hurdle.
Wow.
2-2 on Murphy. He's got a good arm, 96. Strikes out Tom. And that'll bring up Parra. He led off last inning with a single and would eventually score on the bases full home run by Arenado. Marcell Ozuna still seething. Parra's taken 2 hits from him tonight. He took one from Parra, and then the last time up, Parra lined a ball that he couldn't get to. Landed in front of him. There's a strike. So Ponce de Leon, one of 5 pitchers in the expansion era, that's since 1961, to carry a no-hitter through 7 innings or more in their big league debut. The Dodgers' Ross Stripling was an all-star this year. He did that. Remember when that happened? Remember Rudy May, left-hander, 65? He did it. You may not remember Rudy May.
I don't know Rudy.
I do. Billy Rohr, and in 67, and Detroit's Bill Slayback in 72. 1-2.
It's a great changeup that Ponce de Leon has to go along with the 95-mile-an-hour sinker.
Cardinals never short on pitching, are they? Seemingly starting pitching especially.
Well, and that's why it's so shocking to see this Cardinals team struggle, and it's centered around defense. That's not the way they built their organization for the last 15 years.
2 balls, 2 strikes. And even this year, their rotation, their starters have a 3.45 team ERA. That's 3rd best in baseball. Now the pen is 23rd best. They're at a 4.58 ERA, so they've had some issues down there. 2-2, and Parr with another base hit. It's good to see because Gerardo messes with Dexter a little bit. Gerardo had been in a kind of a mini slump coming into the ball game tonight. So to see him throw out 3 line drives, 2 that drop, good for the optics.
Parr was 2 for his last 20, but he continues to lead the Rockies on the road, a batting average over 300 now. I like the good wide turn.
Garrett Hampson 1 for 2.
Talk about the Cardinals bullpen, 23rd in ERA, but they have some arms. Dakota Hudson, who just got called up. Think about this, and we'll see it. We get 4 games here in St. Louis. We're going to see Jordan Hicks. They call him the human blowtorch.
He sits on 100. I mean, that's on an off day.
His average fastball is 100.2 miles an hour.
Did he touch like 105 earlier this year? I know he touched 104. And the ball moves too. Not that, does it really matter at that point? I don't know if it matters. It's fouled off.
It's a 2-seam fastball. He throws only a 2-seam. He doesn't throw a 4-seam fastball. 4-seam fastball typically is what pitchers will throw to get the high velocity.
So what does he throw? 109 when he throws a 4-seamer?
I don't know.
What's that? I've seen, we've watched video on him, and you're like, come on. Yeah, he's still giving up 36 hits, 53 2/3. Somebody's getting knocks off him. 2 strikes on Hampson. That grand slam by Nolan, the first time the Rockies have hit a grand slam in St. Louis, Missouri, ever. Two and two. Hampson getting his first start tonight at shortstop in the big leagues. Trevor Story just getting a day off, just his second this year, second non-start in 2018. Parra, and another bad throw from a pitcher. And Parra is going to end up at third here. Dexter Fowler has to go and get the baseball. That's the second time tonight an errant pick throw has allowed a Rocky to go first to third. The first one was on Martinez, and now it's Ponce de Leon.
I don't think I've seen that in a game before. 2 errant throws where the base runner goes first to third. That's 87 errors now for the St. Louis Cardinals.
That is not the Cardinal way.
No, it's not.
They have 9 more errors than anybody else in the National League. 2-2 on Hampson, trying to take advantage. 3-2. Be real careful here because you have Anderson on deck. There's a list of teams that don't want to be at the top of that list. By contrast, the Rockies have made just 45, almost half the amount. Three and two on Hampson. And the walk to Garrett will bring up Tyler Anderson.
I've been waiting to show you this graphic for a while because I love it so much. Susan Strand creating just such a good one. Waiting in the fountain of youth. Talking about how good of an arm Daniel Ponce de Leon has. Check out where his ranks are in the PCL. His last start with the Memphis Redbirds. Complete game shutout. This is a great arm and a great story. And we talk about players making it to the big leagues from the NAIA. It's very rare.
Whoa. Out. No, safe. Parr got underneath the tag. That was one of those ones where it kicked right back to Yadier Molina. I hate that because I hate when you get rewarded for a wild pitch or a pass ball. He turned around and it was like, oh, here comes the baseball again. And you thought, man, Parr is going to be out by 10 feet. At least according to home plate umpire Marty Foster, he was underneath the tag. This should have been an easy run.
He's safe. Even if the ball beat him, it doesn't look like the tag actually touches Gerardo.
They're going to take a look at it.
I just don't see him touching Gerardo. The worst part for Ponce de Leon is that he has to sit and marinate and think about that last pitch. Good job by Gerardo going feet first. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, it was very difficult to tell if he tagged him. The crowd here with a tentative applause, but I don't think they believe 100% the tag was applied. Well, this gives me a moment to do my semi-annual railing against. Well, they're going to make a decision quick in New York. He's out. Well, this is what I can't stand. It should be padded back there in every stadium. The ball should not ricochet straight back. You should not get rewarded when you throw the ball 8 feet over the catcher's head. Rockies in front 4-1, lose the run. on. Parra tagged out and initially called safe, but here's the pitch. Look where it hits. That hit on the screen and kicked back. I thought it hit the bricks and kicked back.
So he must have caught him right. I still don't see it as being clear. Original call was safe.
They may have been able to zoom in New York because they made that decision pretty quickly.
They did.
Ponce de Leon with a bouncer to a retreating Nolan. And he throws him out. One gone. But you know what I mean? Spilly, again, when you have a wild pitch or pass ball, there shouldn't be a reward for it. If you're a runner on third, you automatically break. As soon as that ball goes flying past the catcher, you're off.
There's multiple reasons why I'm with you. I mean, you don't want to get rewarded for a terrible errant throw, but just for that inning specifically, it was a run. It was the opportunity to turn the inning over by having Tyler Anderson most likely making an out.
Ball one on Matt Carpenter. Infield single and a line out to the second baseman, Ryan McMahon. The Rockies put the shift on. 4-1 they lead. They've out-hit the Cardinals 6-2. Anderson just continues to roll along. The only run he gave up, a leadoff home run in the 5th to Jed Jerko. His last 5 starts, he has a 1.02 ERA, and 4 of those 5 starts at Coors Field, and all of them against top-flight opponents. His last 11 starts, he has a 2.08 ERA, which is 3rd best in all of baseball in that time frame. 1-2.
He is in such a good place. It's both mechanically because he's able to repeat delivery. He's focused. You could see the laser-like focus. You could see how he's...
He gets better his 3rd time through the lineup. Usually it's the other way around.
It's because the feel for the changeup and the cutter have really come to him.
He changes sequences. He's, again, such a bright guy, such a hard-working guy, not just physically, but the mental side of pitching, the preparation side. Murphy wants fastball away. And he gets a ground ball up the middle, just past the diving Nolan. Good pitch, though. He executed that perfectly.
Sometimes you just get beat because the hitter's in a good place, and that's what Matt Carpenter did. Now, granted, the Rockies are in a left-handed shift. Nolan's the only defender on the left side of the infield. Is that a typical ground out to shortstop? Probably not. Looks like a seal. A penguin.
Here's Molina. And he takes right on the inside corner for a strike. Sixth inning, just 69 pitches so far for Anderson. He struck out 5, has not walked a batter, has not come close to walking a batter, in fact. Charlie long striding toward left center will make the catch, and returning to first base will be Carpenter.
I'm just looking at Tyler Anderson's pitch logs on a site that I often like to look at, Baseball Savant. And as I'm looking at it, there's not a lot of east to west misses. He's not missing down and away. It's more up and down. And as a hitter, when your focus is down the middle, but it's above and below where you're trying to hit, it becomes difficult.
Paul DeYoung. Just missed, ball 1. Pop out and a strikeout for DeYoung. Got him on a change-up away his last time up. Cutter in the air to Cargo. Easy play right where he was standing. Anderson gives up the hit to Carpenter. Nothing else across in the 6th. We move to the 7th. The Rockies up 4-1 at Busch Stadium. Sportsnet is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. Back at Busch Stadium, where there are a couple of cranes in Ballpark Village building a bunch of new shops, and this area continues to grow just adjacent to downtown St. Louis. Pretty night for baseball. Low humidity, and the temperature is a very pleasant, at least at game time, with 78 degrees. Probably cooled off a couple of degrees since then. Drew Goodman, Ryan Spilborghs, and Taylor McGregor. First of 4 here in St. Louis. It'll be Anderson resuming his at-bat. He was up there when that first pitch sailed back to the screen and ricocheted perfectly back to Molina, who flipped to Ponce de Leon to tag out Parra. 4-1 Rockies. One on Anderson. Rockies are going to get a starter working not only effectively, but deep into another ball game. 7 2/3 yesterday from German Marquez. And if Anderson keeps this up from a pitch count standpoint, gobble up close to all 27 outs, perhaps. 1 out.
It's almost obvious every time you see the Rockies and Cardinals play each other. 2 of the best leadoff hitters in baseball go head to head. The numbers are pretty remarkable when you look at them side by side. 292 with 20 homers for Charlie, the higher on-base percentage, and homers for Matt Carpenter. And we mentioned this earlier with Matt Carpenter. They were trying to put him in the middle of the lineup. Cardinals were hoping to have what the Rockies attempted to do with Charlie too, was try to get more people in front of him. And I think Charlie feels more comfortable hitting leadoff. Matt Carpenter will tell you, I feel more comfortable hitting leadoff. So it will be interesting to see what the Rockies lineup looks like when DJ LeMahieu returns. But for me, watching these guys at the top of the lineup get those extra at bats, and the game just changes in one batter.
I honestly don't think it matters a ton whether it's DJ first and Charlie second, or Charlie first and DJ second.
Yeah, but there's a feel for Charlie. I think he enjoys the routine of being the leadoff hitter.
2-1, and Charlie lines this ball to center field right at Bader. 2 outs. And that'll bring up Ian Desmond. 0 for 1, couple of walks, came around on the grand slam by Arenado in the 5th inning. Now Carpenter on the other side hit just 175, batting 3rd.
Career for Matt Carpenter, 291 with 92 home runs as a leadoff hitter, and everything else drops down to 250 or below.
On the ground is short. And the Rockies gone in order in their half of the 7th. We will stretch in St. Louis. The Rockies 4 and the Cardinals 1. Cooney Lexus look back. This game's been about one swing of the bat from the Rockies and a whole lot of great pitches once again from Tyler Anderson. He has kept the Cardinals offense at bay, and with 2 outs, Nolan Arenado with the bases jammed in the 5th inning, lost one to center field. His 5th career grand slam, the first Rockies grand slam ever in St. Louis, Missouri. 4-1, the Rockies leading, bottom of the 7th inning. 72 pitches so far to navigate 6 innings for Mr. Anderson. He'll face Marcell Ozuna, Jed Jerko, and Jairo Munoz here in the 7th for St. Louis. And first pitch that's just a little bit high. Ball 1 on Ozuna. Been robbed twice in this ball game. A sliding catch coming in by Gerardo Parra, and a leap at the wall to take a double away from Ozuna. And this is fouled off. This is with Carpenter at second base. That was with 2 outs early in the ball game. And then with 2 outs and nobody on, that catch. These guys are good friends. And Ozuna is no longer happy with Gerardo.
Oh, you can't feel bad.
No, I don't feel bad for him.
No.
2-1 on the corner, 2-2. Cardinals have missed the playoffs 2 years in a row. This is how good they've been. The last time they went 3 in a row outside of the postseason, it was the 20th century. 97, 98, 99. What's in jeopardy of happening this year? Think about this, though. St. Louis fired their manager, Mike Matheny. They made Mike Schilt, that man, the bench coach, the interim manager. And you would think they were 30 games below 500. They're above 500 still. And that is the first walk of the night. A leadoff walk to Ozuna. Came into the ball game tonight 53 and 52. So far, Schilt has won 6 and lost 6. But he's got, again, very early returns. He's got high marks from his players in terms of how relaxed he is, and maybe a different mood that's been created from the very intense Mike Matheny.
And that's the sentiment we felt. That's the sentiment we've heard from many of the sports writers here in St. Louis, is that it was just necessary.
Jerko at the plate, takes inside. Grounded out to short. And then hooked a home run to left.
Rocky's starting to get a little bit of movement. Looks like it's Scott Oberg starting to warm up.
Pitch count not high. There's Oberg doing his thing. Murphy for the first time tonight is going to go out and visit. Desmond will join the conversation. 2-0 on Jerko.
You don't want to breathe any sort of life into this crowd. Leadoff walk to Ozuna, not big misses. And we know there's times where you see the strike zone start to shrink later on in the game. Cardinals very good third time through facing a pitcher. Same pitcher, 300 batting average for this group.
Now it's 3-0. And that misses. This is weird.
Those aren't big misses.
Yeah, they're not big misses, but Anderson come close to walking anybody the first 6 innings, and now you get the tying run coming up in Munoz. And we've seen in the Midwest before, Spilla, you know this to be true when you were running around out there in the outfield, where the latter part of the game, the humidity just kind of gets to your legs. But it's a perfect night to be pitching, and he has a low pitch count.
The velocity hasn't dipped, but oftentimes as your legs start to become more and more fatigued, you'll hear pitchers talk about it. First thing that goes is location, and it's small. Tyler's gonna have to dig deep, find a couple quality pitches to make. He's been able to get Munoz to ground out and strike out.
Other than the home run, this is only the second time in this game that anybody in a St. Louis uniform has touched second base.
They just spiked.
1-0. One ball, one strike.
That's a swing of trying to tie up this ball game. If you're walking 2 consecutive batters, a cutter down would have probably broke his bat. Very aggressive swing.
Here's the 1-1. And that's low, 2-1. Jairo Munoz was with the Athletics to start the year. He was part of that Stephen Piscotty trade. Of course, just saw Piscotty.
Munoz visibly upset with himself, had a pitch that he thought he could handle. The location for Tyler this inning has not been there for him.
I think he overcompensated here because this fastball was left up in the heart of the plate. Been missing down, down, down. This is where it's oftentimes been a changeup or cutter count for him, which is induced swings and misses or ground balls. 2-2, 2 on, nobody out. It was a cutter, but it's down and in. Now it's 3-2.
Has shown he wants to do damage this at bat, and just based on the swings we've seen, he's going to sell out, looking for a pitch to drive. 3-2.
Yeah, the guts to go change up here after walking 2. And he went fastball, or he went changeup, I should say. And he's now walked the bases full, and Buddy's going to have to go get him. This is strange in that Tyler was pitching a beautiful ball game. His command was outstanding, and it just disappeared here in the 7th. Scott Oberg's going to inherit a mess, trying to keep the Rockies out in front, 4-1.
stats, roster updates, and more. RBI Baseball 18 is available now. Learn more at rbigame.com. Rated E for everyone. Well, bases loaded jam for Scott Oberg. 9 of the last 10 outings for Tyler Anderson. He went 6 innings or more, but for Scott, he's been on an excellent run of pitching since coming back from AAA. 11 of 29 inherited runners stranded has slowly gone down. It was high to start off the season. For him, the minor mechanical adjustments he made in AAA have paid dividends so far at the big league level over the last couple of weeks, and it's become one of Bud Black's most used and dependable reliever.
Here's Fowler against Dexter, and he fouls it off. He's hit 2 balls in the air to center field, where Charlie's made the catch on Fowler. Charlie taking over basically in center field with Dexter departed for Houston. He's been with several teams now, but the most games he's played in his big league career have come with Colorado. Bases loaded, nobody out. Here's the 0-1 from Oberg, and that's strike 2. One 3-ball count the first 6 innings. Tyler Anderson 3. Obviously this inning, there's been 3 walks. 0-2. 1-2. Showed slider away. Dexter obviously does a lot of power, but it's a longer swing. Get inside sometimes on Dex with velocity. Two and 2.
And the one thing Dexter has always had is his ability to draw walks.
Especially for a guy as big a strike zone as he has. 6'6". Looks like he went. Oh, wow. 3-2. We got Spilly.
Fastball up. Let's see what it looks like from the side. That is close. The Rockies had one that went their way. This one went the Cardinals' way.
That time he went 1 out.
You just gotta love Scott Oberg and his confidence to just go after Dexter. Use the fastball and throw it up, catch up to it. Dexter may have chased the ball. It's always so tough in that situation. 3-2, bases loaded. Anything close, you're gonna have to fire at it.
Here's Harrison Bader, 0-1. Off the plate. Two and 1. Jose Martinez is in the on-deck circle to pinch hit in the pitcher's spot. Well, you may see Tommy Pham.
For the Rockies, trying to count on the defense that's been standing around for quite some time this inning.
And now it's 3-1 on Bader. Pepto-Bismol, anybody? 5 straight 3-ball counts, 3 walks for Tyler Anderson, who could not have pitched any better for the first 6 innings. He's replaced by Oberg. Oberg struck out Fowler on a 3-2 pitch, and now he's 3-1 on center fielder Bader. And he just walked in a run. Cardinals haven't done a thing to get back in this game other than stand at home plate and not swing. 4 walks in the inning. And now Steve Foster will go out again with big Jose Martinez set to pinch hit. Rockies have the former Cardinal, Sungwon Oh up, and Jake McGee. Four to 2 now, 1 out, and Martinez at the plate. Jose is a pinch hitter, 2 for 9.
Last year, he was fantastic as a pinch hitter.
That's strike 1.
Last year, as a pinch hitter, Martinez hit .462.
Ground ball to third. No one's going to try to come home with it. Out at home plate. Good catch by Murphy to stay on the bag, or the plate, if you will. And Nolan charging and throwing in one motion for the second out.
He just has such great awareness. This is not a play he can make a double play on. It's a slow in-between hop. Jed Jerko is running on the first base side of the foul line, making it even more difficult for Nolan to make a throw.
He had to adjust to that hop. All of a sudden, Spilly veered to his right. That's a great play by Nolan. Now they're 2 outs, and you have to deal with the best hitter in the Cardinal lineup. They have 3 hits tonight. Matt Carpenter has 2 of them. And strike 1. Infield single, a line out, and a ground ball single up the middle against the shift for Matt Carpenter. One from Oberg. Swung on and missed. It's 0-2. Dialed up 97. I don't know if I mess around spinning one here.
Carpenter will shorten up his swing with 2 strikes.
Pitchers in these situations most comfortable going with their best. Here's the 0-2. He went fastball, 1-2.
This is a hitter since June the 23rd. He's hit .358 with 12 home runs. He's been as locked in as anybody in baseball. But you have him on the ropes.
One, two. And a base hit that'll tie up the game. Bader comes around, it's 4-4. The seventh has been a bugaboo inning all year for the Rockies.
With 2 strikes. Looks like a pitch that just ends up staying flat. And Carpenter, as we mentioned, he'll shorten up with 2 strikes, punches it into the outfield. 3 hits on the night for Matt Carpenter.
So a whole new ball game here at St. Louis. The Rockies had a 4-0 lead, and now it's 4-4.
Now bring Sungwon Oh into the game to pick up for Scott Obert. We'll look at his debut for the Rockies on Saturday. It's a scoreless inning, getting through some traffic with the Oakland A's. Allowed 1 walk. That's the 11th walk on the season for him. It's very rare for O to give up any sort of walk. Navigated through it. We hope to see him navigate against his old teammates, trying to get the last out of the 7th inning.
When he was announced, he got a nice round of applause from the big crowd here in St. Louis. 2 years ago, his first year in St. Louis, he was one of the top setup men in baseball and also a good closer. He worked in both capacities. Luke Weaver is in at second to run for Jose Martinez. Ball 1.
Yeah, Weaver's a pitcher. Luke Weaver expected to start on Wednesday against the Rockies and Kyle Freeland.
Yachty hits a high fly ball to left. That'll get the Rockies to the dugout, but plenty of damage done. 3 runs come in the 7th. The Rockies have now allowed a major league worst 82 runs in the 7th inning. Southwest Airlines, low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. And by UC Health, live extraordinary. Well, the Rockies had a 4-0 lead on the grand slam in the 5th inning by Nolan Arenado. Tyler Anderson was pitching a beautiful game. He just seemingly ran out of gas in the 7th inning despite a pretty low pitch count. He walked the first 3 he faced, and then Scott Oberg came in. He ended up getting an out, then walking a man to force in a run, got another out, and then gave up a base hit to Matt Carpenter on a 1-2 pitch. And now Jordan Hicks will take over in the top of the 8th inning. The Rockies' bugaboo innings, the 1st and the 7th. They've given up more runs than any team in baseball in those 2 innings. And last inning in the 7th, 3 runs for the Cardinals, 1 hit. Now this guy's the hardest thrower in baseball, along with Aroldis Chapman. Jordan Hicks, his first pitch when he came out of the pen during the commercial break went to the backstop.
They call him the human blowtorch, but when you're looking at the numbers, you would expect somebody with a plus fastball, averages over 100 miles an hour, to have a large strikeout number. Well, he doesn't.
.102 on pitch number 1. Here's what Nolan did in the 5th. That was against Ponce de Leon, and a grand slam, his 5th career slam. And he just got to come back now and get that next run. 1-1.
Hicks was a high school shortstop with a great arm. There's several relief pitchers in baseball that were former shortstops.
This is rolled up the middle, and the Young double clutches, and it's not handled at first by Matt Carpenter, who has had a rough game at first. He does not have an error, but at least the first pick by Carlos Martinez should have been made. That ended up in a 2-base error. And then this one, he didn't help out Paul DeJong. Double clutched, and the Rockies hopefully will take advantage of that break. That's 3 errors on the Cardinals.
So the Rockies have to take advantage. The Cardinals took advantage of the Rockies, walking 4 last inning.
10th error on DeJong. Cargo will face Hicks. 1 for 3 tonight for Carlos.
The Cardinals gave Nolan a hit.
He'll take it. Shouldn't be a hit, but I'm glad Nolan got it. That's a play that DeJong, with an accurate throw, he's going to be out by a step. Cargo with a bouncer to short. He's got to get up the line. There's one, and they will not double him up. One out. McMahon coming up. Ryan's 0 for 3.
I'm looking in the Cardinals dugout because they are looking at a replay to see if Nolan made any sort of contact with Munoz at second base. Under the new rules for sliding at second, you must slide straight into second and maintain contact with the bag. Cardinals decided that it was a clean slide, which it was.
Man, and this ball's dribbled at second. Man, this is not a strong display of defense.
It hasn't been.
Munoz gets the out at first, but now a base hit, and very likely the Rockies can retake the lead.
It hasn't been for the last couple of years for the Cardinals. Munoz with 10 errors on the season.
Cardinals worst in baseball in fielding percentage, and if you look on tonight, you're not shocked. Again, that's not an error.
No, but it acts
might
like
as well be.
Yep.
So Tom Murphy trying to come through here with 2 outs against Jordan Hicks. Strike 1. Two strikeouts and a pop out tonight for Murphy.
It's amazing looking at the super strike zone and just how it lights up when Jordan Hicks throws 100 miles an hour.
He's not throwing a pitch that has not hit triple digits.
But he's a ground ball pitcher. Ground ball percentage over 60%. Strikeout rate right around 7. 7.5.
Well, that one only went 90 miles an hour because he slipped and fell. How'd you like to play catch with that guy?
He probably doesn't have a catch partner. Probably plays catch.
You'd be in full gear, right?
Yeah, bullpen catcher, I'm assuming, plays catch with him.
Murphy drives it to right, but Dexter is right there. Good swing. The Rockies will leave Cargo at second base. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th, tied at 4. Pitching performance, we focus in on Tyler Anderson for 6 innings. It was normal Tyler Anderson stuff. He allowed just 1 home run, 3 hits. And then in the 7th, he came into the inning with 72 pitches. And he had some near misses, but ended up walking the first 3. And they would all end up scoring. So the final line for Tyler tonight, 4 runs in 6 innings.
And that's amazing for Tyler through the month of July, the 4 starts prior. He gave up 4 earned runs.
Oh, with a curveball that just missed. 1 ball, 1 strike. Got the final out, getting his former catcher, Yadier Molina. Song Juan now facing Paul DeYoung. 3, 4, and 5 for the Cardinals in the bottom of the 8th. And there's a swing and a miss. It's 1 and 2. I asked Song Juan through his interpreter, Eugene Koo, the other day about if there were a little more nerves making his debut at the Rockies the other day, and he said it was more adrenaline than anything else. This is a guy that has pitched in a lot of big games, Far East, here in the States, and in Canada, obviously earlier this year with Toronto. Toronto not having the kind of season they hoped for. That's fouled back. 2 and 2. DeYoung, Osuna, and Jerko in the 8th for the Cardinals. You know, this is one spill. You find a way to win it, and you can erase the potential disappointment of having a 4-0 lead go awry. That's strike 3. Locked him up. Good pitch. So O strikes out DeYoung.
Here's the pitch that locks him up. It looks like a front door slider. Started at DeYoung's hip. Wasn't looking for that pitch. Maybe he had in his mind he'd see a fork ball, didn't get it. And going back to what you were saying about this game, Drew, there's times where you're watching a ball game and you say whether a team deserves to win or not. Cardinals don't deserve to win this game based on their defense and how sloppy they've played. But when you're the Rockies and you walk 4 in the 7th inning, those are also numbers that suggest you don't deserve to win.
Yeah, that became out of nowhere pitching sloppiness. 4 runs, just 4 hits for the Cardinals. A ball and a strike on Osuna. Had a tough July. OPS below 600 in July, and a soft liner grabbed by McMahon. 2 outs.
All fans to the gates of the Rockies-Dodgers game August 11th will receive a Colorado Rockies baseball card pack courtesy of Topps. That'll be fun. Did Marcell Ozuna just break the bat over his knee? He went Bo Jackson on us. Since he can't break Gerardo Parra over his knee, he might as well break his bat. I think there was a slight break in it already, and he just cracked it. That's a strong hit.
Do not try this at home. Strike 1 on Jed Jerko. Jerko hit the home run against Anderson in the 5th inning. And he's got himself a base hit with 2 outs. Been on 3 times tonight. He hasn't been playing much. Bring up Jairo Munoz.
There's a good chance that you'll see Jerko in the lineup tomorrow.
Well, if Mike Schilt adheres to Buddy Black's rule, if you hit a home run, you get to play the next day.
If you end up with 2 hits and a walk, and you're 2 for 3, you shouldn't get a chance to play the next day.
Munoz 0 for 2 and a walk. Pitch at the top of the zone, but called ball 1. 36-year-old Song Juan Oh. In the air to Carr going right. We'll go to the 9th inning. The Rockies 4, the Cardinals 4. Parra will lead things off in the top of the 9th. The Rockies will try to scratch out a run. It'll begin things with Gerardo Parra. New pitchers, Bud Norris. He's not new to the big leagues. Former starter.
And for Bud Norris, he's been their closer. 20 saves and 23 opportunities. And see the strikeout numbers for Bud. He just said over the last couple of years, going from a starter to a reliever, he tried to attack. He's tried to attack hitters. And he said he hasn't noticed a lot of changes in swings. So that's...
Parra lays down a bunt. It's a good one, and they're going to get the out at first. Good play by Jerko. Yeah, Jed will play third, he'll play second, he'll play first, but the position that he's most comfortable at is third base, and he made a good play there.
Well, I like the thought process for Gerardo. Continue to put some pressure on this defense. It looks like Gerardo and Carpenter tangled up their feet at the very end. Luckily, none of the players got hurt.
So here's Garrett Hampson. 1 for 2 and a walk. Thought about a bunt. Trevor Story. It's the second game this year Story has not started. Getting a day off. Two big guns for the Rockies, Otto and Davis. The Rockies get a run, it'll be Davis. If they do not, it will be the former Cardinal first-round pick, Adam Ottavino. Two balls, 2 strikes. on Garrett Hampson. Four runs, 7 hits for the Rockies tonight. 4 runs, 1 swing of the bat. Nolan Arenado in the 5th inning, a grand slam. Three and 2. We would love to get his speed on.
No question. Norris will look for his cutter with 2 strikes.
And this is poked to right's got to get down, and it will in front of Dexter. The throw behind him. Hampson was alert to that. A 1-out single for Garrett Hampson.
He loved the production for Hampson tonight. 2 for 3 with a walk. And with the 3-2 count, it's his awareness. That pitch is off the plate. Trying to get the ball in play, not leaving it up to a home plate umpire to decide. Too close to take, and you just shoot it the opposite way. Now you have that matchup for the Rockies. You have potential threat of a stolen base, which means even though Bud Norris likes to pitch primarily with fastball, takes any sort of secondary pitches really out of the equation. Which plays to Trevor Story's hand. He's a good fastball hitter.
Trevor, a couple of infield hits yesterday, 2 for 4. Trying to impact the game here in the 9th inning.
You could hear a slight groan from Cardinals fans as that throw to first base, almost like, why are you still trying to throw to first base, Cardinals pitchers? They've thrown 2 away today where the Rockies took advantage of it.
And the first pitch strike, it's 0-1. 9 times this year the Rockies have been tied after 8 innings. And their record's a good one, 6-3. 7-3 sounds better though. Slide step, can't run on that. That was barely over a second to the plate. 2 strikes. Outfield playing no doubles. They're exceptionally deep. 0-2.
Got to keep an eye if you're Tony Diaz and Garrett Hampson at Yadier Molina. He will try to snap throw, especially with a young major leaguer.
He's got an open side too. Foul. Well, it's unique that Story is pinch hitting. He starts every day. And so now you have speed at first, speed at the plate, speed on deck. Of course, it only plays out that way if Trevor can get on. 4-4, top of 9, 1 out. Here's the 1-2. And Story had a good swipe there.
Here's the pitch. Fastball missed. Molina having to reach back. Trevor knew he had a pitch he could handle. That's also the difference for a guy that's used to playing every single day and coming into that role as a pinch hitter. Timing's a little different.
2-2.
That's a good take from Trevor. That's a tough pitch to lay off. It's more or less middle portion of the plate, but above the strike zone. And it's a pitch that so many hitters will chase.
Bud Norris been in the big league since 2009. Came up with Houston. Two and two. Fouled that off of Molina. Yachty has caught more games for one team than any other player in Major League history. He's caught 1,789 Cardinal baseball games. He's gotten hit with 1,500 foul tips, at least. Another 2-2. Hampson takes off, and he'll swipe second.
Love it. And it looked to me like Molina was looking to back pick on Carpenter and Hampson, and the Rockies just took an advantage of a little cat and mouse game. When are you going to run? Great jump from Garrett after watching several pitches against Trevor.
And that's his first big league bag. Picked the right pitch to go on, didn't he?
Perfect.
3-2. Ground ball to short. Hampson returns to second as he should. And now there are 2 outs. It'll be left to Blackman. Who Wants Tacos fans, follow us at AT&T Sportsnet RM on Twitter to receive alerts for the Rockies taco special when the Rockies score 7 or more runs. Charlie tonight, 1 for 4. He singled and scored back in the 5th inning. His last time up, he squared the baseball up and lined it right at Harrison Bader, the center fielder for the Cardinals.
Well, it's Matt Carpenter, the leadoff hitter for the Cardinals, that tied up the game. Let's see if the Rockies leadoff hitter can give the Rockies a lead.
First pitch misses. That's always nice. Charlie has seen Norris quite a bit. He's 3 for 11 against him. There's great familiarity. And this is slowly hit the second. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th. The Rockies fail to score. 4-4.
Rockies. It has been well documented the resurgence of Ottavino this season, and one of the things that he has done differently this year is in his side sessions this year he throws different weighted balls. He has a 7-pound ball that he'll throw every single day and then mix in between different weighted balls. He says it really helps him with his feel. He explained to me that throwing a fastball and commanding it is all about feel, and that has really helped him. It was a technique he learned by Driveline Sports out in Seattle, and it's been huge for him this season. Drew.
Yeah, Taylor, there's been so many players that have gone both professional and amateur to Seattle or have utilized the Driveline program. A lot of colleges are going to that. So guys pick up velocity with the Driveline program. And Adam Ottavino, just a different pitcher than the one that St. Louis knew. He got in only 5 ball games in a St. Louis uniform, 3 starts. Dexter takes ball 2, 2-0. Fowler tonight. 2 fly balls to center and a strikeout. Strikeout came with the bases loaded in the 7th against Oberg. It was the first out as Oberg inherited a bases loaded situation. 2-0 in the 9th. And that's in there for a strike. Ottavino, a first-round pick out of Northeastern University in Boston. As you saw in the graphic, he was a waiver claim. It wasn't even a trade.
Isn't that amazing?
You always talk with a franchise, the best trades ever made. How about the most impactful waiver claims? Hard to think of one better than that.
David Ortiz.
Well, from the Rockies' perspective, Adam Ottavino right at the top of the list. Minnesota regretted that one with Big Papi. This ball's a base hit to center field. Bottom of the 9th, lead single for Fowler.
Fans buy a Rockies ticket plan to guarantee a chance at 2018 postseason tickets. Plans start at just 10 games. This is going to be a challenge now for the Rockies. Dexter, not quite the same guy stealing bases as he used to, but Bader runs extremely well. You would expect some sort of small ball, whether it's a bunt, a push bunt, a hit and run, or at least give an opportunity to Dexter to steal. Otto is slow towards home plate.
And that pitch is high, ball 1. Bader, as you said, you figure, I mean, it's got to be an automatic bunt here. Dexter, his speed is most impactful when he's underway. He's never been a great base stealer. For a guy that if he ran a 60, he's going to flash a terrific number. And 2-0.
Dexter has 4 stolen bases on the season, been caught twice. From the Cardinals' perspective, for Bader, he's in a hitter's count, 2-0 count. You know Ottavino does not want to get to a 3-ball count. This could be an action count for the Cardinals, looking to maybe move Dexter, a hit and run, allow Bader to swing. Maybe not even have him run, just give him a free chance to take a good pass at a baseball that he can handle.
He takes off, and it's bunted in the air, and no play. Boy, had that been a few feet shorter, the Rockies may have been able to get a double play. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, right?
Well, I'm not sure if Dexter was given the stolen base with the bunt, which is rare. You don't see that too often, a bunt and a steal on a 2-0 count.
Jose Akendo back at third base on the coaching lines for the Cardinals. For so many years he was a fixture there. He made some changes, now he's back there. Shorter lead from Fowler. Not going. 3-1. Otto is trying to work up in the zone a little bit, so there's a greater chance that Bader pops the ball up as he did on the previous pitch. Strike, throw to second, and he steals second base standing up.
There's no real chance for Tom Murphy to throw Dexter. Dexter was such a big jump.
So the winning run at second and a 3-2 count on Harrison Bader. Here's the 3-2. Swung on and missed, 1 out. Bader goes down. And Greg Garcia is going to be the pinch hitter.
Ottavino is able to get Bader with the slider, but you can see Bader still trying to hit the ball towards second base. It's hard enough to hit Ottavino, let alone trying to manipulate the barrel to move a base runner over.
Well, if Otto's to get out of this, he's going to have to get the left-handed hitting Garcia. And the hitter on deck, the red-hot Matt Carpenter, who also hits from the left side. Strike 1 on Garcia. Garcia this year has been the most frequent pinch hitter for St. Louis, 7 for 32. He's the second most utilized pinch hitter in the National League this year.
Well, with Dexter dancing around at second base, Garrett Hampson is playing closer and closer towards the bag, trying to keep Dexter close. As you mentioned earlier, Ottavino not quick towards home plate.
Ground ball to short. 2 gone. And it will come down unless you pass on Carpenter, which you might. You got to pass on Carpenter.
I think you have to.
You go right on right with Molina. And this is Buddy coming out. This is a discussion, obviously, not to take out Adam Ottavino. Lefties are hitting just 174 against Otto this year. I mean, he's really cleaned that up. You're talking about a guy who has been as dominant a setup man as anybody in baseball, maybe save Josh Hader this year. Righties are hitting 40 points less than the 174 roughly. The winning run at third, they're 2 outs, and Carpenter is going to be probably the #1 candidate for Player of the Month in July. He has 3 of their 6 hits tonight, including the 2-run single that tied up the game in the 7th. If there's one guy in the lineup you circle right now and you say this guy can't beat us, it's Matt Carpenter. So this is a no-brainer.
No-brainer. Bud Black, as he was walking in, he just told Marty Foster, we're not taking this at bat right here. There is a psychological aspect as a hitter. You feel slighted. With the game on the line, you want to pass up him to face me.
So here's what it'll come down to. Ottavino and Molina. Here's the first delivery. Line drive toward right. Cargo coming on. He's got it. We'll go extra innings. Adam Ottavino wiggles out of it.
What a play. First step quickness, realizing the game's on the line. Might as well just break your helmet.
Bonus baseball in St. Louis from Busch Stadium. The Rockies had a 4-0 lead. The Cardinals caught them with some help from Colorado. They had trouble throwing strikes in the 7th inning. We'll go to the 10th inning as the Rockies wiggled out of a situation at the bottom of the ninth with Ryan Spilborghs. I'm Drew Goodman. And the Rockies are going to see a guy right now, Dakota Hudson, who had great numbers in AAA, former #1 pick. However, he has 1 inning of Major League Baseball under his belt. That came a couple of nights ago.
Well, first off, I love free baseball, and on a game like tonight where you're going to need some quality at bats, what better way than to start off this inning with Ian Desmond against a guy that is really looking at his 2nd inning of work at the Major League level.
And one other note, and Dakota Hudson has been terrific at AAA, but as a starter. So this is not a role that he's accustomed to. Desmond takes strike 1. This kid started the AAA All-Star game. 13 wins at Memphis this year with the Redbirds. He's gotten to the big leagues quickly. 23-year-old was a first-round pick just 2 years ago. And mid-90s fastball, and he's ahead 0-2. He's a product of Mississippi State.
Looking at the arms that the Cardinals have rolled out against the Rockies today,
They always have arms.
It's amazing to see why or how their bullpen ERA was so high.
And think about this. Their top pitching prospect and one of the best prospects in all of baseball, Alex Reyes, whose numbers in the minor leagues were ridiculous. He blew out this year. He's had Tommy John surgery. Again, all the Rockies' runs came in the 5th inning, a grand slam from Nolan, who's on deck. Nolan swinging the bat, getting loose, but in between, he's trying to get the timing and study the delivery and release point of this young right-hander, Dakota Hudson. 3-2. Desmond's walked a couple times in this game. Seems most games now, Desi's throwing out a walk.
Ian hitting .243 with 14 home runs on the road, 14 of his 19 home runs. He's come up with some big ones.
And a walk.
Good start.
For Desmond and his wheels to first, and here comes Nolan. Once again, here's that swing in the 5th inning. 5th career grand slam for Arenado. And the way Anderson was pitching, you thought it was good night St. Louis.
We're looking at his pitch count, trying to figure out if he can make it through 9 innings.
He had 72 pitches and a 3-hitter going to the 7th, and then he walked the first 3 and was replaced.
I like the aggressive nature for Nolan right there, just trying to fire at a pitch after Dakota just walked Ian.
Say something else about as great as Yadier is, it's harder for him to throw now. People close to the club will say because he has a knee injury and it's hard for him to really fire out of that crouch. This ball in the air toward right center. Dexter will get over and make the catch. And now there's 1 out, and that'll bring up Cargo. Cargo tonight is 1 for 4. He singled back in the 4th inning. And a ground ball picked up at 3rd by Jerko. 2 outs. Rockies, if they don't score, bring in Jake McGee. Ryan McMahon 0 for 4 tonight.
I'll pay top dollar for a double right now.
Top dollar?
Whatever's in my wallet.
Outside, ball 1. Maybe some history between McMahon and AAA, and
I'm sure they've seen each other.
Dakota Hudson. Two and nothing.
Hitters count for McMahon, but with Yadier Molina, knowing that this is a rookie, McMahon, who is looking for a fastball, he might throw an off-speed pitch.
Two-seamer missed 3-0. There's a guy on deck who may get an opportunity that may have seen him also in Tom Murphy. McMahon, you'd assume, will be taking here. No, and he drives a base hit the other way. So now Cargo, the go-ahead run at second, and here comes Tom Murphy.
I was watching Yadier Molina look towards Stu Cole to see if he was giving any sort of take sign, and Yadier Molina even told Dakota Hudson, hey, it looks like he's going to be swinging, so be careful. 3-0 count, getting a pitch that he can handle. I love it. McMaddox going to the warm embrace, hand on the shoulder as always.
Whatever the message, delivered with a smile. Desmond giving his scouting report on Murphy, or on Hudson to Murphy. 2 on and 2 outs. Carlos Martinez started and was pitching really well. And then in the middle of the 5th inning, after striking out 9, he strained his shoulder and had to leave. Strike 1 on Murphy.
Reading up on some of Dakota Hudson's stats in AAA, the fact that he only gave up 1 home run in 112 innings of pitching in the PCL, that's impressive.
One, 2-1. Again, good stuff, but used to being a starter. Second major league game, and he's in a 4-4 affair in the 10th inning against perhaps the hottest team in baseball, the Colorado Rockies. Two and two. Two. Lewis got a piece. And now Molina will hop around for a moment.
Yadier already missed time this year for taking a foul ball. This one looks like it caught his toe.
Cargo at second, McMahon at first. We'll go to the bottom of the 10th inning. 4-4 in St. Louis. 3, 4, and 5 for the St. Louis Cardinals, and Jake McGee will try to push this game to the 11th inning. Paul DeJong will be first. He's 0 for 4 tonight, including a couple of strikeouts. It'll be the 42nd appearance for Jake McGee. We saw him a couple of days ago. He got a big out.
He really did in the fastball above the belt, 96 miles an hour. You want to see that. You want to see the velocity for Jake. Also notice that he's starting to throw a slower curveball to go with this fastball, which is a great pitch for him.
And the first pitch to DeJong misses, ball 1. And that's on the corner at 93. One thing that Buddy would like to see more of from Jake. The other night on Saturday in a critical situation, he got a strikeout at 96. But there were a couple other fastballs in the sequence that were 90 and 92. And he said, you know, if you could throw 95, 96, you're a sprinter. I'd like to see all of them around 95, 96. He's ahead 1 and 2. And of course, down in Tampa, he made a great reputation for himself. It was mid to high 90s all the time. Tried to reinvent himself a little bit in that he doesn't consistently throw as hard. So that's why he is throwing the wrinkle that you were describing more frequently, certainly, than he did when he was in the American League. 2 and 2.
Sure, Jake McGee would have loved to have had that pitch. He was in a strike zone, in the Subaru strike zone.
Good giddy up there at 95. Fouled off by DeJong.
Late in the game, you want that pitch called because you don't want to continue to give a hitter a couple extra pitches to measure up your fastball. You're a portion of the game where one bad pitch and it's over.
Got him. So DeJong is gone. McGee punches him out, and that'll bring up Osuna. Marcel tonight 0 for 3 and a walk. And he swings and misses.
You're in this portion of the game that we call hero ball, where the swings will get bigger. Those guys are at the point where they want to go home. If they have the ability to knock one out of the ballpark, they're going to take their shots.
How many times in your career, you had pop, did you go to the plate thinking home run? This ball well hit to center field, and this one will win it. You can answer that question another day. Marcell Ozuna with his 3rd home run in as many days. And the Cardinals come from behind and they beat the Rockies 5-4. There have been so many good wins for the Rockies lately. Hard to describe this one any other way than a tough loss. They had a 4-0 lead and couldn't squeeze out a victory.
Right off the bat, Ozuna knew it. Disappointing loss for the Rockies tonight.
Yep, that's a bad loss. The Rockies will have to rebound tomorrow night. They had a 4-0 lead late. They end up falling in 10 innings, 5-4 on the 13th home run this year by Marcell Ozuna. 5-4 St. Louis, to Denver we go. Here's Jenny.